Hi everyone, welcome to my video about my 23andMe experience and results. So this is the 23andMe website and they offer two types of tests. They have the Ancestry service for $99 and the Health and Ancestry service for $199. So a year ago I saw this on sale for Black Friday. Both of these were 50% off. So that's such a great deal. So I had to wait for Black Friday to come around again before I could buy this. And I originally bought it on the 23andMe website, but I'm not sure if they charge a delivery fee or something, because I remember I checked on Amazon and it ended up being cheaper for me. And with Amazon, I have Prime, so the shipping was a lot faster as well. We got the Health and Ancestry service for $99. What can your DNA say about your health? So the Ancestry has about 35 plus reports, and then the health portion of it, there's genetic health risk, wellness, carrier status, and traits. And we can look into the type of reports here. So if you scroll down, these are the things that they tell you about your ancestry, and these are the things they test for with our health. So I'm just going to quickly scroll through this because I'll probably rename everything as I go into my results. Hopefully you were able to see all that. If not, then you can just go on the website and click on everything on your own time. I don't want to make this video too long by naming everything out. So there we go. Now let's go to my results. So when you log in to see your results, this is the first thing you'll see. They will have these research questions for you to answer. Occasionally, I've answered about 431 questions and some other stuff down here. You'll see your results and different reports over here. So let's go into Ancestry first. So let's start with Neanderthal Ancestry. I have 260 Neanderthal variants, and the person in first place has 397 variants. So some of the traits that may be influenced by having Neanderthal variants are straight hair, which is weird because I do have straight hair, likely to sneeze after eating dark chocolate, less back hair, and height. And here is just a brief history about Neanderthals. Now for DNA family, I have 918 DNA relatives in my 23andMe DNA family. So it'll only link you to people who also did 23andMe, obviously, and I'll show you where these relatives are located and their composition. My relatives are 57% less likely to have a gap between their two front teeth, 48% less likely to have lived near a farm when they were young, 46% less likely to sweat while sleeping, 45% less likely to own a cat, 43% more likely to drink tea, 42% less likely to drink caffeinated soda, 42% less likely to have perfect pitch, 37% less likely to sneeze when exposed to bright light, 34% less likely to like the taste of dark licorice, 30% more likely to have worn braces on their teeth, 30% more likely to drink energy drinks, 23% more likely to exercise at high intensity, 22% less likely to be able to whistle, 20% more likely to drink instant coffee, 19% more likely to be able to carry a tune, 19% less likely to have sweaty feet, 16% more likely to drink espresso drinks, 15% more likely to smell asparagus in their pee, 15% less likely to own a dog, 15% more likely to be able to sing back a note they have just heard, 13% more likely to be able to curl their tongue, 11% less likely to think that fresh cilantro tastes like soap, 11% more likely to exercise at light to moderate intensity, and 11% more likely to go for walks for leisure, transportation, or exercise. Let's look at my maternal haplogroup, M7b. This gives you migrations of your maternal line, a little bit of history. Honestly, I'm not too interested in this information, but there you go. You can also click for scientific details. So my ancestry composition. So 99.4% East Asian and Native American, and they break it down into a 8.1% Chinese. I actually thought I was full Chinese because even though my parents were from Malaysia, their ancestors were from China. So 2.38% and 8.9% just broadly Chinese and Southeast Asian. 0.6% also broadly South Asian, broadly East Asian, Native American. I'm not sure why they don't just combine this with this. So that would be like 100% some type of Asian, you know? Oh well, if you scroll down here, it has a timeline. It tells you that you can get more ancestry details if you get 23andMe for your parents. This is chromosome painting. Let's click scientific details for this one. So they test specific populations, most likely to match mainland China, possible match Taiwan. They didn't detect anything here, but like I said, my parents were from Malaysia. 0% for all of these. Can't click on this, but 8.9%. And that's it. Now let's move on to my health. So this is the overview page. Let's click on to health predisposition. So age-related macular degeneration, variant detected, not likely at increased risk. So obviously, just because you have the variant detected doesn't mean that you have AMD. It just influences the risk of having it. So it says right here, this test does not diagnose AMD or any other health conditions. And more information down here. Lifestyle and other factors that can also influence the chance of developing AMD. Smoking, age, family, ethnicity, and diet. Let's go back. Celiac disease, slightly increased risk. I have one variant detected. So lifestyle and other factors that can also influence the chances of developing celiac disease, gluten, family history, and other conditions such as Down syndrome, Williams syndrome, or type 1 diabetes. How it's treated can be effectively treated by removing all sources of gluten from the diet. This includes foods and drinks made of wheat, barley, and rye. Typical signs and symptoms: diarrhea, gas, and bloating, poor appetite, skin rashes, fatigue, anemia, headache. So all of these other things, I do not have any variants detected. And oftentimes they will develop new reports and they will test your DNA against those. So this is a new report. Now let's look into carrier status. If there's a variant detected, it means that you are a carrier of one of these things, but obviously it doesn't pass down to your children unless both parents have it. If only one parent have it, then they could also be a carrier. So I do not have any variants detected for any of these things. I don't even know what most of these things are, but if you're interested in testing yourself for some of these things, then here you go. Now going into wellness. Alcohol flush reaction, unlikely to flush. So in college, I never had that strong Asian glow like everyone else did, but as I got older, I stopped drinking more frequently. I probably drink only once or twice a year on special occasions. So now I do turn a little bit red. And this gives you a little bit more information. Caffeine consumption, likely to consume less, which I guess, sure. I mean, I don't drink caffeine every day, but if I do drink caffeine, then I get my venti size. So I don't know if it kind of averages out how much I drink. So it says the average per day is 256 milligrams, and I drink 239. This is a chromosome that they test for. Caffeine interferes with the brain system that causes sleepiness. A molecule called adenosine acts as a signal between brain cells to bring on sleepiness. Caffeine blocks adenosine signals, making you feel more alert. This is also why caffeine can make it hard to fall asleep and interfere with deep sleep. I mean, I don't know if this actually affects me because for the most part, I don't feel like I have any effects from drinking caffeine. As I said in my previous test from Helix, caffeine was never used for me to keep alert, keep awake. It was more for just, I like the taste of frappuccinos and stuff like that. And I know frappuccinos don't have as much coffee as, let's say just a cup of black coffee, but I also do drink tea though. So deep sleep, less likely to be a deep sleeper, which is true because I do wear a Fitbit and it tracks my sleep and I rarely get into that deep sleep. I easily get woken up. That's kind of accurate sometimes. Genetic weight, predisposed to weigh more than average. Thanks, genetics. Your genes predispose you to weigh about 6% more than average. What's the average? 119 pounds for a 30-year-old woman who is 5'2". Right now, I weigh about 161. So yeah, at the time that I took this test, I was 155. Keep in mind that your lifestyle and environment also have a big impact on your weight. For reference, a recommended healthy weight range for someone your height is 101 to 136 based on CDC guidelines. Healthy habits for your genetics: avoiding fast food, exercising, limiting red meat, eating vegetables, eating leafy greens. See more associations. Slept a healthy amount, ate fish, ate fruit, ate yogurt, managed stress. And that's the percentage of the differences that they saw in weight. Lactose intolerance, likely intolerant, which we've seen for the second time now. This was also detected by the Helix test. But then again, I said, I've been eating cheese, milk. What's this? Cottage cheese? Ice cream, yogurt. Is this a cheesecake? I've been eating all these things all my life, and I've never felt particularly, here we go. Never really felt like it affected my digestion at all. So lactose intolerance increases with age. Maybe as I grow older, then I'll become intolerant. I guess we'll see. Muscle composition, uncommon in elite power athletes. So it looks at your slow twitch fibers and fast twitch fibers. Remember in the Helix test told me I had slow twitch fibers. Saturated fat and weight, likely similar weight. So this was also tested in Helix, that my saturated fat intake doesn't affect my BMI. So yeah, likely similar BMI if total calories remain the same. Your weight is likely to be similar on diets high or low in saturated fat with the same number of total calories. Examples of food in high saturated fat: steak, pizza, ice cream. Sources of healthy fats: nuts, fish, olive oil. Recommended saturated fat intake is something many of us should keep an eye on. About 70% of Americans eat more than the recommended daily amount of saturated fat. Try to consume less than 10% of your daily calories from saturated fat, which is 22 grams for a 2,000 calorie per day diet. Maintaining a healthy weight. So I'm pretty sure I'm in the obese range right now. Sometimes I say I'm 5'2", and sometimes I'm 5'1". I think when I last went to a doctor, I was actually 5'1" and 3/4. That's why I kind of just choose whatever. So 29.4. If I put 5'1", I'm obese. So I'm pretty much on that borderline into obesity. And lastly, sleep movement. Likely average or less movement. You're likely to move about an average amount during sleep. Number of movements per hour, 12, which I don't believe is true, because when I look at my Fitbit results, either my Fitbit is super sensitive or I move a lot. I do think I move a lot because I often wake up during my sleep and I have to turn around constantly because I don't feel comfortable. What else can influence your sleep movement? In general, older people experience more sleep movements than younger people. Men experience more sleep movements than women, which is not true. If I'm comparing my husband to me, he sleeps like a log. He only moves if he feels me move next to him. In one study, consuming 2 or more alcoholic drinks per day was associated with more sleep movements. Diet, in some studies, having more sleep movements is associated with lower levels of iron in the blood. And lastly, we're going to look at my traits. These I'm not going to click into because there's too many of them. I'll just read them off. So, motion sickness. More likely to experience motion sickness. When I was younger, I was able to read and play games in the car without getting sick. I think as I got older, it was harder for me to do that. Also, like, I know my mom gets really sick on small boats. Sometimes I get that, but not very often. Ability to match musical pitch. More likely to be able to match a musical pitch. Probably true because I was in choir. Asparagus odor detection. Likely can smell. Yes. Bitter taste. Likely can taste. Yes. Cheek dimples. Likely no dimples. I wish I had dimples. Cilantro taste aversion. It's likely higher odds of disliking cilantro, which I think is funny because when Mike cooks, he puts cilantro in some of the things and I always pick it out. So now I tell him this is because of genetics. Cleft chin. Likely no cleft chin. True. Earlobe type. Likely detached earlobes. True. Earwax type. Likely wet earwax. Yes, which I got from my father. He often gets swimmer's ear. Eye color. Likely brown or hazel eyes. True. Fear of heights. More likely than average to be afraid of heights. Maybe. I mean, on roller coasters, I don't mind too much. But if I'm on the straight drop rides, then I don't really like to ride those. Finger length ratio. Likely index finger is longer. Let me see. Wait, longer than which one? Oh, index finger longer than ring finger. So if I'm looking from the front of my hands, they actually look almost about the same size. But if I flip my hands around and look at from the palm side, then actually my index fingers look longer than my ring fingers. That's kind of funny. Freckles. Likely little freckling. True. Hair photo bleaching. Less likely to experience hair photo bleaching. What do they mean by that? Less likely to lighten with sun exposure, which I don't think is true, but I think maybe it depends if they're thinking about black hair that changes to brown or if they're going straight from, brown to blonde. Because obviously I don't go to blonde, but my hair does turn a really light brown sometimes. Hair texture, likely straight or wavy. True. My hair is straight. Hair thickness, more likely to have thick hair. True. Light or dark hair, likely dark. Misophonia, less likely to hate chewing sounds. Yeah, I guess I don't mind as much. Mosquito bite frequency, likely bitten more often than others. True. Very, very, very true. Which I also told my husband about because it's like every time we go on vacation or even at home, I'm always the one getting bitten and he gets nothing. And I'm just like, why? And I've always been told it's because I have sweet blood. Newborn hair, likely lots of baby hair. I don't remember my photos. I think I did. Photic sneeze reflex, likely no photic sneeze reflex. What does that mean? Achoo. It could be a case of cross wires in the brain for some people. Bright sunlight kicks off a round of sneezing. Oh, okay. Yeah, I do not sneeze from looking at the sun. Red hair, likely no red hair. True. Skin pigmentation, likely lighter skin. Somewhat true. So when I was a child, I'd get really, really, really dark in the summertime. So every year, if I go on vacation or anything like that, even if I put sunscreen, I get brown really easily. And then by wintertime, because I'm not exposed, then then I turn light again. So my skin color changes with the seasons. Sweet versus salty. Likely prefer salty. I actually like having them both, maybe both together sometimes. Like if I eat French fries with vanilla ice cream, yeah, that's a really good combination. You guys should try if you've never tried it before. And if you don't have French fries, you can also try potato chips. Toe length ratio. Likely big toe longer when you compare to which other toe. So this is comparing the big toe with the second toe. And that's actually weird because my second toe on both feet is longer than my big toe. So they are wrong. Unibrow. Likely at least a little unibrow. Yeah, I think when I was younger, I was really self-conscious about having a unibrow. And so I started plugging at a young age. And so I'm not sure if I grow it out. It doesn't become a whole straight line, but it starts growing out on the sides here. I'm not sure if it ever grows in the middle. Wake up time. Likely to wake up around 8:34 a.m., which has been pretty true as of late. Not specifically at 8:34 every single day, but around this time. I am a night person, which is true. I wonder if I change this, does it change? So I'm likely to wake up a little later when I'm younger. If I get older, I'll wake up earlier. Wake up earlier and earlier. Oh gosh, I want to wake up at 7 a.m. And lastly, widow's peak. Likely no widow's peak, which is true. So thank you for sticking with me throughout this video to see my results. If you like any more specific information, because I didn't click into a lot of these things, let me know in the comments down below and I can get back to you. You can give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and if not, let me know why. Hit the button to subscribe to my channel, and you can also watch my previous video on Helix. Bye!